The fall of humanity. The day everything changed, Genesis 3. In the beginning the world was not broken. There was no pain, no fear, no shame, no death. Creation breathed in harmony with its creator. The birds sang freely, the rivers danced with joy, and every living thing existed in perfect peace. And in the center of this breathtaking garden, the Garden of Eden, stood the first man and woman, Adam and Eve, not just characters in a story, but the very beginning of us. Humanity's first breath came from the hands of God himself. He shaped Adam from the dust, breathed life into him, and declared, "It is very good." Eve was crafted with love, designed as a perfect companion, a reflection of God's beauty and creativity. Together they walked with God not by faith but by sight. A world without separation. A relationship without distance. This is what we were made for. But in the midst of this paradise, something else existed. Something subtle. Something dangerous. A tree. Not an ordinary tree, but the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God's instruction was clear. You may eat from any tree in the garden, but not this one. For when you eat of it, you will surely die. One rule. One boundary. Not a restriction, but a reminder. A reminder that God is God, and we are not. But then, a voice entered the garden. The serpent, crafty, deceitful, and subtle. Not roaring like a lion, not screaming like a monster, but whispering like a friend. He approached Eve with a question. Did God really say? With those 3 words, a seed of doubt was planted. Not just doubt in God's rule, but doubt in his goodness. What if God was holding something back? What if there was more to life than obedience? What if human freedom meant stepping outside God's boundary? The serpent promised knowledge, power, enlightenment. You will not surely die. You will be like God. A lie wrapped in the appearance of truth. Eve looked at the fruit again. Beautiful, desirable. And suddenly the boundary God created looked like a prison, and the lie looked like freedom. She reached out her hand, took the fruit, ate it, and at that moment something in the universe cracked. Then Eve handed the fruit to Adam, who stood beside her. He ate it too. One choice, one moment, and the story of humanity changed forever. Immediately their eyes were opened, but not in the way the serpent promised. They did not gain wisdom. They gained shame. They looked at themselves and felt exposed, vulnerable, afraid. For the first time in history, humanity felt the weight of sin. They hid from each other. They hid from themselves. And worst of all, they hid from God. When God walked into the garden, calling, "Where are you?" It wasn't a question of location. It was the cry of a broken heart. The heart of a father seeking his lost children. Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree? The truth could no longer be covered.
Adam blamed deve.
Eve blamed the serpent. But sin is never just a mistake. It is a fracture, a separation between humanity and God. The consequences were devastating. The ground was cursed. Pain entered the world. Brokenness invaded relationships. Death became a reality. The garden, our home, was closed. And yet, even in judgment, God revealed something incredible. His mercy. Before sending Adam and Eve out of the garden, God made garments for them, covering their shame with the skin of an innocent animal. Blood was shed so humanity could be covered. A symbol pointing centuries into the future, to the one who would shed his blood, to cover our sin once and for all. Even in the fall, love remained. Even in judgment, grace began its story. The serpent would not have the final word. The curse would not be the end. God promised that from the woman would come a savior, one who would crush the serpent's head and restore all things. This moment, Genesis 3, is not just the story of Adam and Eve. It is the story of every human heart. We have all reached for forbidden fruit. We have all believed lies. We have all tried to be our own God. And every time we discover the same truth. Apart from God, there is no life. But with Him there is redemption. The fall of humanity is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of salvation. Because where sin increased, grace increased all the more. The God who banished humanity from Eden is the same God who opened the door to eternity. Through Jesus Christ, the story that began with a forbidden tree will end with another tree, the cross, where the Savior restores everything we lost. So today, remember this. Yes, humanity fell, but God reached down. Yes, we broke the world, but God promised to remake it. Yes, we ran from Him, but He came running after us. And the God who covered Adam and Eve still covers us today, with forgiveness, with grace, and with everlasting love. This is the story of the fall. And this is the story of our redemption. Where sin entered, grace began.